Before adding parts and chemicals to inventory, you need to set up your vendors. A vendor is, for example, the companies that you buy parts and chemicals from. But there are other vendors. For example, the mechanic that fixes your trucks, he's a vendor. The insurance company that insures your trucks, that's a vendor. In fact, any subcontractor or any company that you pay money to for products or services is a vendor. Now, if you're using the accounting system in Hydroscribe, you must set up all your vendors first before using the system. That way you can account for the bills that they're going to send to you. And it'll also keep track of the payments that you make to those vendors. If you're not using the accounting system in Hydroscribe, then you only need to set up the vendors from whom you buy chemicals and parts. So let's look at how to set up vendors. There are two ways to do that. You can either click on vendors and then click manage vendors, but you can also get to it from inventory. If you go under inventory, you'll see the same option, manage vendors. So let's click on manage vendors. If you have vendors in the system already, it'll bring up a list, and if you're going to add one, you just simply click the add button. To save time, let's go to one that's already set up. So I'm just going to click on one and edit the vendor account. Okay, so inside the vendor record, you put the business name and then their address. And then below that are the terms that you have with that vendor. For example, what this says is, when I get a bill from this vendor, I have 30 days to pay the bill. If I pay the bill within the first 10 days, I'm going to receive a 1% discount. This is known as 1% 10 net 30. There are other terms that your vendor can give you. So whatever the terms are, you're going to enter it in here so that the system can calculate the discount for you. The next line has the account number. This is the account number that the vendor has assigned to you. So ask the vendor for the account number that they use and put it in that field. Next field over is the Federal Tax ID or TIN. This is a number that the IRS assigns to a company when they file their taxes. Now this number is normally given to a corporation. For small companies, sole proprietorships, they usually don't have a federal tax ID number, and they're usually use their social security number of the owner or their company name. Your accountant will give you a better idea of how to enter that information to identify that vendor. The next field down says send 1099 to this vendor. A 1099 is an IRS form that identifies funds that you have paid to this vendor. And there are different rules, and you'll have to speak with your accountant to know what the rules are, whether or not a vendor is to receive a 1099 or not. That will be dependent upon a combination of rules, and your accountant will be able to tell you whether or not you should send a 1099 to that vendor or not. So you'll have to contact them. Okay, so once you fill that out, go ahead and click the submit button, and it will add the vendor to the list. So now you can use that vendor when you're setting up parts and chemicals in inventory. And that's how you add vendors.